Hello aviators, welcome back to the shop. What we have here is some F-15 wings from a Byron F-15. Um, One of the local gentlemen asked me to take a look at it, so I figured this would be kind of like a teaching moment. We have the right wing, which I already took the covers off so you can see the servos. The covers are off, and then the right wing, well, excuse me, this is the left wing, this is the right wing. The right wing, I haven't taken it off, so I can show you guys how it's like. The first thing I noticed when I picked it up from this gentleman is I noticed there was a slop on the servos. I don't know if you could see that clearly, but and I couldn't really put my finger on it. But if when I move the control surface, you can see the actual control horn move in and out a little bit like that. And I couldn't tell by looking at it why. Once I actually took the cover off, I looked at the servo. By the way, the builder of this airplane is no longer with us, so let's try to keep it nice and professional. Anyway, so what they had done is they put an extension on the control horn, servo control horn, by putting another one on top of it. So not only do you have the slop from the actual servo, if there's any, but you also have the one where they screwed one control horn on top of another one. One of the first things I did, obviously take off the cover so I can look at it and see what kind of servos there was. For an older airplane, I mean, this has got to be some of the construction from back in the days, and it looks pretty good. If you're gonna have any kind of plastic keepers like this, take some pieces of fuel line and put them in there like a security or extra secure connection in there. So when you connect it to the servo, that fuel line will keep it nice and tight in there so it doesn't pop off or anything else. But this is like a teachable moment for if you're gonna inspect an airplane that you bought. One of the things I did on it, and I'm gonna try to do it on this one without using much force, but you can see the slop. It's at least quarter an inch to half an inch. But one of the things I did is I used the flap like that, and then I held the servo and I pulled on it a little bit, not too much. This one's not coming off, but this one actually unsoldered. So on this airplane, since this one came off, I would have to take off all the control surfaces on the push rods and probably redo them. I definitely would not use any type of extension like this, where you put one control horn on top of another one. I mean, I don't know how long ago they invented that glass-filled nylon large control horns, but I would use those instead, or a metal one. But these are older servos. This is a half decent one's about what, 95 ounces or 97 ounces at a 6 volts. That's for the one for the aileron. The one for the flap, this is a Futaba 3004. This is probably back in the day was a $10 servo from 25 years ago. This replaced this is just a standard dual ball bearing servo that replaced the S148. This airplane flew back in the day with those servos just fine. It's what we used to have available at the time. So I'm not gonna knock the servo that much. Is there better servos? Hell yeah, there's a lot better servos nowadays. Do you need to put all the weight on it? No. What this airplane has that's different. This is a Byron twin engine F-15. But this one, the gentleman doesn't have the Byron fans on it. It either has Ramtex or Dynamax fans. So it's going to have a little bit more thrust and also a little bit probably more vibration, just depending on the fan and everything else. One of the things on there that was done when they built this, they installed like, I don't know, 3-foot long extra extension cord over here. Maybe the original builder wanted to just keep it as a one piece, And if he's got a trailer big enough, then he can keep the wings on it. Yeah, by all means. If not, you know, these should really be capped off right there and have the connectors in there, and then obviously, you know, inside the fuselage, the other half, the other extension. But there is no way to pull the servo wire out. So what would you do in a case like this? This is already, it looks like it's monocoated. It looks like it's monocoated. Then the wood, then glass on top of that. In my case, what I would probably have to do is the servo cable for the flap does move a little bit. The one for the aileron doesn't move at all. And you could tell this kind of goes in a channel like a 45 degrees or following the leading edge, but it goes at an angle all the way to the front. There's many other ways to do it. You know, some people would say, oh, get a hot, make a channel between the two servos, and then, you know, from there, just make one channel going to the front to try to get the cables out. Another one would be to actually cut the skin, put in a, for example, not exactly a brass tube, but you could use a brass tube or you could use a carbon tube on there. Put it in there and then glue the piece back on, and then you would have to glass over it again and then feather it. But that way you would have the control surface removable. Ideally, the way the servos are mounted, they're hard mounted to the wing. There's wood dowels in here that make it a great candidate to just install the servos in the actual servo covers. You know, you get something like the L brackets that a lot of other manufacturers have available nowadays, and then you would just mount the servo like so, because that's easier to work on. If the servo is inside the pocket and the servo screws are deep in there, trying to get the servo out is very difficult, very time consuming. Is it impossible? No. Is it very difficult? A little bit. But all four of these servos have the extension that somebody created by putting in the double control horn on there. So I'm gonna take those out. I'm gonna give the owner some glass fill nylon ones to replace all these four. And then if this was my airplane, I would redo all the push rods. Does it really need to have metal, you know, ball link ends on it, or, you know, something like this on them? Not really. It just needs to be nice and snug or nice and tight on there. But, you know, to each their own. Would I personally, you know, solder my own connectors? Yes, I have done that. I know how to do it. But you have to clean the push rod well, sand it a little bit, and then use some flux. I could tell this was sanded maybe a little bit too much, and then pressed in there and soldered in there, and that's why this one gave out. This one is not coming out as easy, so this one is probably, you know, a lot stronger. But we have plastic keepers on both ends of this ones. Obviously, like I said, you know, just cut little pieces of fuel tubing and put them over the control surface, and, you know, go from there. I haven't taken out the covers on the other side. I don't know if those cables are as tight or as loose as they are on the wing from the right. So I'm gonna take off the ones on the left, and then if I need to make another video, I'll do another video. Thanks, guys.